Hey guys, JC here. Alright, I've got a question for y'all. What do you do if you are in the zombie apocalypse, you have run out of all of those delicious canned goods and space meals you have, and you're not having any luck hunting? Or you possibly don't have any tools to hunt effectively with? You have to forage. That's the next answer. Because obviously, unlike having to chase down animals or trap them or whatever, and having to scavenge homes in hopes of finding food, plants don't go anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a couple of things. A couple of things you guys may not have known about. Okay. For instance, I'm sure most of y'all know what this is. This is the early stages of a dandelion. As you can see, it is dead. This, however, is the full stage. It's the full-grown stage of a dandelion. Now, I bet you didn't know, but you can actually use the flower itself to make wine. Now, though I would not recommend eating the flower itself, you will find that at the base of the flower, you just dropped it, at the base of the flower, at the very bottom, you're going to find these kinds of leaves. And these are the dandelion leaves. Well, they're edible. Believe it or not, they are edible. You can eat them fresh, or you can boil them. So, that's one thing you guys now know. Dandelions actually have nutritional value in them. The leaves are edible. Now, next thing I want to show y'all. Went ahead and I've got these in the back of my property. These are Japanese honeysuckles. Now these yellow ones are not quite ready yet, and obviously they never will be. Now, these, however, white ones are. Now, these I didn't really grab for the sake of saying that this is what you're gonna want to try and eat and stuff. But after plucking it, you'll see you've got this tiny little stem that comes out the back. It's actually attached to the I don't know if y'all can tell. There's a little green leaf right here. See if y'all can catch that or not. I don't know if y'all can see that, but there's a little green leaf among the little yellow ones. And that's where this little stem is connected. You basically just pull it right through, very gently. And I don't know if y'all can see that or not. There's just a little dollop of honey sitting on that now. That's sweet. And it's kind of a nice little treat. Obviously, you're not going to be able to survive off of that. Okay. The next type of plant, this is known as a wait-a-minute vine. Now, as you can see, it's got thorns all over it, but these have not matured, so these thorns are not actually sharp at the moment. They're very bendable, very, very easy to move around and everything. Now, the way you can differentiate and know what a wait-a-minute vine is are these. These little stems that come off. As you can see, they start to curl around and everything. You can see even up at the top they've got them. These, basically, from the top point here where it's nice and flexible, because as it starts to get down, it starts to get a little bit more stiff. I'd say about right here, at this point, is where it stops getting flexible. Has plenty of water. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it has plenty of water in it. Yeah, you can drop. This is edible. Best way I can describe the taste of this and like the dandelion leaves. Have you ever gone, or maybe even you've done it yourself, gotten a salad? You know they have like the iceberg lettuce and they have the the fresh leaf lettuce. That tastes like the fresh leaf lettuce. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly what it tastes like. It's delicious. All right, and it's healthy for you. Now, I'm in Texas, so I am lucky enough to have blackberries. Now, the problem though is that blackberries obviously only bloom once a year. So, you gotta figure out what are you gonna do with them. Well, in the zombie apocalypse, you can't really rely on a freezer. Otherwise, I would gather as many blackberries as I could and start storing them in a freezer. So what's the next way to preserve them? Well, literally just said the word. Preserves. This is my blackberry jam. And yes, if you are curious, I absolutely made this myself. I went and foraged a bunch of blackberries, probably about, I don't know, maybe 2.5 pounds of blackberries. And then I made myself about five jars this size. And, you know, this is not a big jar. But obviously, this is a very good way to store it. Now, obviously, this one is open, so it's not sealed. The other ones that I have are sealed. Very easy to seal them once you actually make it and everything. If you don't know how to make jam, learn how to do it, guys. You know, I don't care what some people out there would say, oh, you know, that's girl stuff. I can't believe you make your own jam and stuff like that. Are you kidding me? This stuff is 10 times better than store-bought, and I made it myself. I got 12 of these jars for 10 bucks. So obviously less than $1 a jar. The blackberries I got all myself. Sugar, you know, talking about $2 for 2 pounds of it. And then stuff, it's actually called pectin, which helps to, pectin, usually it's, the actual label for it is like Sure-Jell or something like that. And it's a very, it's a very like little powdery mix which helps to give it this kind of gelled form. But if you don't have pectin, it's not that big of a deal. Just substitute just a little bit more sugar, and you'll get a very similar substance, a very similar gel, you know, jelly jam type substance. But like I said, I do these myself, and once it's been sealed, they will last for months, guys. So, can you imagine? You're sitting there in the zombie apocalypse and you're like, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Just so happens to be blackberry season and you have a bunch of blackberries around. Well, probably the best thing to do would be to go ahead and forage those blackberries and turn them into jam. That's the best way to preserve them. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to just sit there and eat them like you would normally, but you can eat the jam. This is just blackberry jam. That's all it is. If you wanted something to drink, you can mash up the blackberries and literally make blackberry juice. I do that as well. Doesn't last obviously as long, but and for those of you out there who would say, well, how are we going to boil it in the zombie or how are we going to make it in the zombie apocalypse? But actually, I just kind of slipped up and said it right there. It was boiling. Most of the process of jamming is just essentially boiling. Once you've mashed it all up into and you know, use just a really nice thin strainer to separate all the seeds and everything, which I actually add some of the seeds once I've gotten it going, because I want it to have that, you know, real blackberry flavor and, you know, and texture. I don't want it to just be a smooth jam, which, you know, you can make it that way, but basically it's extremely simple. Once you have the juice, you just mash it all up until you just get juice. You have juice strained into a separate container, a separate bowl or something, and then you come on, I mean, you know, zombie apocalypse, you go and forage things like that. People are going and scavenging food out of people's houses. They're not scavenging pots and pans, which is all you really need. You get a couple of big pots, you get yourself some jars, and once you have the juice, you start boiling it. And you add the pectin, and if you don't have pectin, add some sugar to it. You know, maybe like, I don't know, I'd say 1/3 of a cup or so of sugar. And then you let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a very strong boil, you add sugar to it. And basically, from the way I do it, the best way to estimate it, is I use 7 cups of sugar for 5 cups of blackberry juice. So I don't know what that really comes to, like 1.4 cups of sugar for every cup of jam or so, something similar to that, I guess. But that's basically about the ratio: 1.3, 1.4 cups of sugar for every cup of jam. Once it's come to that boil, you just pour in your sugar, you mix, stir it up really good, and then once it comes to a boil again, put it in your jars. Once you put it inside your jars, like I said, similar jars like these are kind that I like to use to have it's the separate pieces, you know, separate pieces, still got the top, still got right here. Once you put it in there, make it nice and tight, and then stick all of these in your a separate pot of boiling water. Make sure that the water comes just above it. Let them sit in there for about 10, maybe 11 or 12 minutes, and then pull them out, set them down, and let them cool. And as they cool, the heat in here, as it cools, will pull the metal down and create a seal. And there you go. You've got blackberry jam. You can do that with any type of edible berry, guys. It can be anything. Strawberries, it can be blueberries, raspberries, it can be whatever, guys. If you have an edible berry, then that's how to do it. So making jam is extremely easy. Like I said, it creates, you know, obviously you make your own jam, you make your own food. But the whole point of all of this is to come to the realization that there's more to the zombie apocalypse than just trying to, you know, hunt for everything you have. There's more to it than, you know, going and scavenging, you know, from homes. You want to learn how to really survive. And knowing how to really survive is understanding how nature itself works. What's edible, what's not? How do you test if something is edible if you don't know how? I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know what to do should you find yourself in a situation where you don't know whether something is edible or not. Now, if I were you, I would highly recommend finding out whether it's edible or not long before you to the point of starvation. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to know if this was edible. Now, obviously, it's not really edible, but I could eat it if I want, without too many ill effects to me. Now, I would find out later, with probably a little bit of feeling sick to my stomach, that it's not good for me. But that would come at the last step. What I would do is I would take it like this. Obviously, I'd want to break the stem to get the flower part. Now, I would rub this on my skin. Not on your palms of your hands or anything like that, where your hand is where your skin is calloused. Rub it on your skin. Wait roughly 5 to 6 hours. If you don't feel a burning or itching sensation, it's good to move on to the next step. Next, you'll move to your face. Rub it slightly on your face, your cheeks, really close to your lips. 5 to 6 hours, no burning sensation, move on to the next step, which is your lips. Same thing, rub it on, don't lick it, just rub it on your lips, give it a couple hours. No burning or itching occurs, now you're going to put it on your tongue. Rub it around on your tongue, no burning or itching occurs. Now you're going to do the last test. You're going to eat some of it. Now, if I was in that situation, I would not eat all of this. I would eat a piece of it. Then I would give it a couple hours. If I didn't start feeling sick to my stomach, I would continue to eat a little bit more. Eat, you know, a piece a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, and a little bit, and eventually get to the point to where I was just eating a whole flower. And then, you know, if I didn't feel any sick, maybe I'd eat 2 or 3. You know, and then you just kind of keep going. But as soon as any one of those creates a burning or itching sensation, or you start to feel sick, it's time to stop. That's not going to be an edible plant. But those are the kind of tests that you need to know how to take. How do you determine whether something is edible or not? So, anyway, guys, that's really all I've got for y'all today. I know I said I was going to cover a little bit more on my book and stuff, and I apologize. I will be doing that. I'm getting actually very close to wrapping it up. So as soon as I have it wrapped up, I'm going to be actually posting a contest for y'all. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, if y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Other than that, y'all have a good one.